clone. I know that I'm fine. I'm nothing more than every day. I'm to doctor. He's on the line. We'll take incubation another day. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. We destroy the government, we're destroying time. No more problems on the way. I'm through, doctor, we don't need your kind. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. Six is having problems, adjusting to his clone status. Have to put him on the shelf. All day long we hear him crying so loud. I just wanna be myself, I just wanna be myself, I just wanna be myself, be myself, be myself. I'm all alone, so are we all. We destroy the government, destroy time. No more problems on the way. I'm through, doctor. We don't need your kind. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all.
Welcome back, boils and ghouls, to Chuckles Crypt on Rhode Island Free Radio. And that was Alice Cooper's Clones. Now, I started off last show with Alice Cooper. You might think I have a bit of a clown crush on this guy. However, I'm starting a new segment on Chuckles Crypt called Compare and Contrast. I'm going to play the original song along with the remake. And you, the listeners, can post up on my Facebook page which one you like best. Or even Rhode Post it up there. Right? Send some feedback to there. Welcome, as always, to the studio, Mr. Garner.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, I know last week we talked about the biggest man in green, Godzilla, sometimes the biggest woman in green, if you go by that horrible movie that was made in the 90s. We're talking about the four scaly dudes in green, the Ninja Turtles. And I know there's a lot of little kids running around excited right now hearing this. Even 44-year-old men that sing that song to me in the bathroom, which, by the way, that was very creepy, and never, ever do that again, please. Why are we going into this? Because Michael Bay, once again, has taken a childhood favorite, and he's making it into this craptastic movie that he's putting out in August. And I'm here to inform the listeners of all the good that was the Ninja Turtles back in the early 80s, and not this piece of trash that's coming out in 2014, late August.
So now you already know it's a piece of trash.
Just by watching the trailer and reading what it's about, I can tell you that it's garbage. This is a total crap on the Ninja Turtles franchise. And anybody that's a fan at the end of this is probably going to be, throwing gum and Skittles at the usher as it come down.
And I'll just put in my 2 cents by saying that, some of you out there may be saying, hey, Chuckles, you're rushing to judgment, calling something a piece of crap before you've seen it. But I'm here to tell you that sometimes you can just tell. Sometimes it's just obvious.
Have you seen the trailer to this?
I saw one brief spot, yeah.
They have noses. Now, if you look at them, they look like they're all football players with big noses. And the CGI to this, from what I saw in the trailer, is flipping horrible. Especially for a Michael Bay movie, like, this is bad. I don't think there was a need to go CGI for this. They could have gone back to Jim Henson's creations with the puppets. I think Michael Bay took the easy route out and did the CGI, and he ruined it by looking at the images of what they look like. It may be a good story, but deep in my mind, I'm going to keep saying this is not what they're supposed to look like. It's going to ruin it.
Exactly. And that is done in more than one storied franchise.
Now, we're going to go to a song that's very fitting and the best Ninja Turtles movie that ever came out. Put out by a group called Partners in Crime. Now, I know the listeners out here are saying hip-hop on a Chuckle show. Who would have thought? Let's go down to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie theme. Turtle Power.
Shell, turtle power.
Welcome back to Chuckles Crypt on Rhode Island Free Radio, and it sounds like there is a herd of Ninja Turtles above us right now, throwing down, fighting the Shredder. One can only hope that would crash through here, he would land on you, and shred you to pieces, Mr. Goner. I mean, no, I would not hope that at all. That is horrible of me to say such a thing.
Freudian subconscious impulses have risen to the surface.
It's horrible.
On only your second show.
Hey, it's horrible, but it's expected. I'm an evil clown. You always say about the charity stuff. Well, I just gave you right there what I'm really about.
And I'll tell you, for one, I'm glad to see it. Now, yeah. I may do the rest of this broadcast, watching my back.
Well,
even though you're to the side of me, because I don't know what you're capable of next. But yes, that charity stuff was making me very nervous. So even at the risk of my own life, I am glad to see you back into your evil, unprincipled
So
existence.
I set your nerves back to being even nervous. More nervous, should I say. Sorry, Mr. McCarthy, for that English mistake right there.
Reassured and nervous, yes at the same time.
Now, this will do Mr. McCarthy good. We're going to actually talk about the books of the Ninja Turtles. The reading part of it. Oh, yes, it did start as a comic before it became this franchise that it is now. Now, a comic, nevertheless, nothing like the movies or the cartoons that you see today.
None of the future incarnations.
Nothing. Black and white, red bandanas, and violent. The child show would replace it, and the foot soldiers would no longer be people. They would be back to being robots. Later on, the movies replaced the robots with people. But still being a Jim Henson production, it was nowhere near as rough and violent as the original, which was produced by Kevin Eastman and his friend there. I'm going to say Laird. I was going to say Lard, but just in case you're listening, Mr. Laird, Please call and correct me if I'm saying this wrong. Now, this ought to do you some good. It is no Lovecraft, of course. It is no C.M. Eddy Jr. But this is definitely American pop as we know it now.
It is.
It will be American pop down in the history, or people will be reading about this probably in history books or English. It was made in good old New Hampshire. It was was the place where it was released. The first scribble and whatnot was released on a newspaper, and because it was, so many of them were trashed, making that newspaper article very much so like Edgar Allan Poe's first book. It's invaluable. So if you have that, hold on to that, because you're going to put your kids through college, plus probably be able to buy them a Lamborghini.
Now, wait a second. Now, so the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles began life as a newspaper strip, you said?
Just a little blurb that a guy made out of, he thought it was cool to make these turtles that had these ninja powers and everything. It didn't become an actual comic book until later on, where the two boys there would fund their comic book studio through their income tax money. Now, that sounds like a lot like what we do inside of here. We use our income tax money to produce what we're doing. And it became a huge success pretty much overnight. And what launched it even quicker was actually the cartoon coming out, and a toy company called Playmate came out as well, saying that we want to make toys for your comic versus cartoon. And boom, multi-million-dollar franchise made overnight.
Now, speaking of that franchise though, was the original black and white comic, did that cross over, you're saying, or was it just that the black and white comic got picked up and then crossed over?
What do you mean as far as crossed over? Now,
in other words, into popular culture. When did they become? In other words, was it the black and white comic that transitioned, or was it what followed?
The black and white comic, I would have to say, started the fame.
Okay.
And someone along the lines came along and said, hey, we can make this into a kid show. And that's when the fame blew up even more. And it's still a huge, huge thing. I mean, they tried to lay this dog down, and about every 5 years it resurfaces as a new cartoon, as a live action, as a new movie. As a matter of fact, the listeners out here might not even remember back in the 90s when they made a live action Ninja Turtles. Now, this thing was god awful, Mr. Garner. I don't know if you remember this.
I don't remember it at all, actually.
They put a fifth turtle in it, and I'm all for equal opportunities and equal rights. But
I do remember vaguely about the fuss that was made over that fifth turtle.
Yes, and that fifth turtle was a female.
Yeah.
So that was the fifth one, and my opinion, the downbringing to that show. Because that show was actually pretty good when it started off. But then throwing the fifth one in there, I'm not saying because it was a young lady it was a downbringing. I'm saying it was a downbringing because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Basically, it would have been like adding the 13th Apollo to the Last Supper painting.
Exactly. And they even gave it some sort of like artsy-fartsy name to the turtle. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think it was Mona Lisa, something like that. If your fans are listening, put it up there. You might know it. I just blanked that thing out of my head. It was so bad. They even did, now I'm going dorkness, and I know Deadly Dan's going to get excited about this. They did a Turtle Power Rangers crossover. That ruined it right there, and I'm glad that was the last thing they did, because anything more would have just kept putting the dog poop right on top of that show. It was horrible. But speaking about things that are incredible and to make you guys feel a little more excited after I just put you into that downward depression, we're going to go into a really famous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song to the cartoon.